Hello and welcome back to the Great Cricketers Morning Glory, and good morning to you all. It's 9 for 260. South Africa chasing 271. Pakistan have just taken 4 for 25 to get themselves right back in it, right back into the idea of saving the World Cup, saving their World Cup campaign. Haris Rauf has just taken one of the all-time great caught and bowls to put South Africa 1 wicket away from doing what we love them doing, choking again. Haris Rauf steams in to the number 11 Shamsi. Shamsi shuffles across his crease and the ball cannons into his pad. Right in front of middle. Oh, the boys are up. It's hit him in front of middle. Everyone's up. Umpire Alex Woof. He shakes his head. He says, no, not for me. Not for me. Not out. Baba goes around and he talks to everyone. Boys, where can we get a visa for a start? But secondly, was it out? 5, 4, 3, 2, bam! Review it. Can you show me ball tracking? Can you show me ball tracking? Red. Red. Oh, it's an umpire's call. Oh, it's an umpire's call. It stays not out. 10 balls later, Maharaj swings Nawaz away for 4. Jubilation for South Africa, who are now top of the table on net run rate. Despair for our brethren over there in Pakistan. Babar's blowing up at Nawaz after the game for some reason. Is this the end for Pakistan? Not as a nation, just generally their World Cup campaign. The Great Cricketer is brought to you by cricket.com. You can download the cricket.com app from the App Store if that is what you want to do. If you don't want to do that, too bad. You have to do it. You have to support cricket.com as they have been supporting us. Pezza, South Africa didn't choke.
Yeah, look, they didn't choke because in order to choke, you would need to have lost the game, right?
Indeed. And the facts of the case.
Well, look, I discussed this with my wife, a medical professional. I said, "What's the precursor to choking?" And she's like, and she goes, an obstruction of the upper airway. I thought South Africa had an obstruction of the upper airway.
Oh my God.
Much like for a child, croup. For any parents out there, a child having croup.
Yes.
That was South Africa. Or stridor, I'm told. South Africa was stridulous.
That was
stridulous?
Stridulous.
But the way you avoid the choke is with a shot of adrenaline, which I believe was delivered by Alex Woof.
There's a lot of discussion on the internet about the umpire's call, generally speaking. Look, the facts of the case are it was given not out, umpire's call. They had one earlier where Osama Mir, who came in for Shadab Khan, who was concussed, and Osama Mir got a wicket in his first over, but he had Rusty van der Dussen on 2 umpire's calls in the game.
Yeah.
We've seen umpire's calls, I understand that. Look, it's not for me so much where the ball was apparently hitting the stumps according to technology. It was more just like, fuck me, that's out. He's kicked it off middle.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
Huge compliment to Haris Rauf's angles.
Exactly. Yeah.
Every cloud. Yeah, he's bowled that from cover. It struck him halfway up middle, and it's missing.
Oh, Pakistan.
It looks bad.
They can feel aggrieved. Yeah,
they can feel aggrieved.
Yeah.
They found some spirit. They found some tamasha. Obviously, from a very selfish Australian perspective, gives us a little bit of breathing space. Right. I think there's more twists and turns. But for the World Cup, I am saddened that Pakistan haven't roared back in. They still have a chance. But they just couldn't get the job done at the end. It was a genuinely close game. I thought South Africa were a bee's dick ahead for most of it. They were an umpire's call ahead for most of the game. Yeah. But it was great to see Pakistan roar back into it, get that upper airway obstruction going for South Africa. Again, for South Africa's opponents, there's a lot of people like, they've done well to overcome a scenario where they'd normally choke. Oh, I reckon I was seeing the anatomy. I really was.
Saw some signs.
Yeah, I saw some signs there. 4 for 25 with the match just there for the taking.
Yep.
So, for the opposition, there's a little bit of stuff there as well. It's like, how do you beat South Africa? Well, firstly, bat first.
Yep.
Yeah, because they fucking love that.
Yep. Bavuma said we can't say with conviction we have a blueprint for chasing.
Right.
So, that's fair enough as well. I actually had croup as a kid.
Right.
Just letting you know some stuff about me. Yeah. So
sounds like you've had the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, indeed. So Pakistan made 270 in the first innings, and then South Africa, for the most part, were sort of cruising along, especially when Klaasen was out and then Markram and David Miller came together. They also batted together at the same time. More euphemisms. So it was 4 for 136 when Klaasen was out. Then it was 5 for 206 when Miller was out. Then it was 6 for 235. They're chasing 270 when Janssen was out. Then they lost Markram at 7 for 250 with 21 to win. Then Gerald Coetzee was out an over later. And then Ngidi with that caught and bowled off Harris Raff to make it 9 for 260. So they still need 11 to win. So, I mean, in many ways, it was the first really good close game of the World Cup. In other ways, it basically means that we've got about 20 round games left for the Final Four. Just about locked in. We'll talk about it in a second. But I suppose that there's lots of good signs for South Africa. They may have already had the loss they had to have against the Netherlands. Their remaining games. So South Africa are now top. They've obviously lost a game where India have not, but they're on net run rate. So South Africa's last 3 games are New Zealand, India, and Afghanistan. And then Pakistan's last game. Pakistan now find themselves 2 wins out of 6. Their last 3 games are Bangladesh, New Zealand, and then England. Just getting to the game itself, if I may, Pezza.
Yes.
Do you know what? No. You know what? It's Saturday morning. We need to wake people up. It's time for cricket.com's Stat Dog. Go to your favourite. Stat Dog. Get around the dog. Get around the dog.
Let's see what that felt like.
Yeah. Give yourself croup. Get around the dog in the comments. Get around the dog in the comments. Cricket.com, Stat Dog.
He's a good little boy.
Stat Dog time. Lowest strike rate against spin in World Cup 2023. Top 5 batters have got to face 60 balls or more. Shahidi from Afghanistan. Steve Smith next, and Babar Azam, 63.5. That's his strike rate.
Cricket.com boys are going to stitch him up again.
Yeah, big time. In the year 2023, Babar Azam has scored 950-plus scores. Only twice has he converted that into a century. 18.2% conversion rate for those playing at home in a calendar year. That is his lowest ever. In ODIs since 2022, Pakistan have been the most vulnerable team against left-arm wrist spinners. They have lost a wicket every 12.1 runs and 16.3 balls, the worst among the top 10 ranked teams. Best spell by a spinner against Pakistan in the World Cup. Tabriz Shamsi's 4 for 60 last night is the 3rd best ever. Pakistan's 4th loss in a row in this World Cup. That is the most consecutive losses for Pakistan ever in World Cups. Post their 1999 World Cup win, Pakistan, this is the first win for South Africa against Pakistan in all World Cups, including T20s. Prior to today, they had lost 2 ODI World Cup matches and 4 T20 World Cup matches. So, the point being, in the game, Shamsi and Markram, they stand out. Yeah. Babar Azam was heavily criticised and remains heavily criticised for his captaincy, his batting performance, his lack of runs. Some would say harsh, others would say not harsh enough. But Shamsi 4 for 60, Markram in the chase 91 of 93 rocks.
That's a difference.
Markram
going on with it, quote unquote. Baba needed to go on with it. Looking at Pakistan, too many blokes making 40, 50, 30 or whatever. And, the compound of that is that if someone goes on with it, others can go harder and they get the 10 to 15 more. I mean, the other thing with Pakistan as well is they bowled out 46.3 overs. They leave like 21 balls to spare. That's calamitous stuff, really. That's just a complete fuck up of timing, etc.
So they were 5 for 225 with 11 overs left. And they've lost the last 5 wickets for 50 runs in 7 overs, leaving 3.5 overs in the hutch.
So
come on.
Whereas Markram makes 90, and I feel like that's a difference. I think criticism of Baba's captaincy is unfair. People are saying that you shouldn't have been bowling Navas towards the end there, but he gambled on his quicks, who actually basically did the job. If the B stick umpires call comes up for Harris Ralph, then it's great captaincy from Bubba. So I think harsh on Bubba there, but he's great. I got to say, he's so good to watch when he was batting. It's just
Bubba,
elegance and breeze, but. But then he just falls to this innocuous dismissal. Yeah. So innocuous.
The ball after he gets a 50,
Yeah, and it's like, that's what happens when you're losing games in a row. I felt like they actually switched on big time for the end of that game, Pakistan, and you just wish there was a little bit more of that spirit throughout the entirety of the game. But, they've given themselves an enormous mountain to climb now. I don't think it's insurmountable. I know we're going to talk about that in a second, but I felt like in their innings while batting, they were just unders all the way through. A couple of guys were coming in to rescue it at different times. It was good to see Shadab Khan, Saud Shakil put on a partnership there, looking good. But every time they just threatened to get ahead of the game, they allowed South Africa back into it.
Yep.
I also enjoyed watching Marco Jansen, who is Victor Wembanyama, apparently.
Wemby.
He's Wemby and Mo Rizwan having
a chat about something.
Having a bit of a chat. Jansen could well be 48, but he looks too young to do it.
Yep. Yeah. You mentioned Pakistan's innings, so Babur Azam 50 off 65, Rizwan 31, Iftikhar 21, Saud Shakil 52.
Swords.
Swords. Shadab Khan 43, Nawaz 24. That in itself sort of tells a bit of a picture. Maybe they were just unders, but at the same time, they just about won the game in the end anyway. So Markram's 91 was the difference. He's been sensational. Geez, South Africa's middle order has just
South Africa's middle order
terrific.
Batting versus India's middle order bowling. I'm actually, and now this is vulnerable.
You licking your chops?
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, now I know that's vulnerable to say as a cricket fan.
Okay, let us know in the comments how you feel about that.
When was the last time you could say you're looking forward to anything in middle overs ODI cricket?
Australia's playing against New Zealand this afternoon, and I'm not looking forward to it because I already know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to watch it.
There's no need. Can you get a bonus point?
God.
The bookmark section now.
Oh, God. Remember when you guys said this? Not really. Okay. It's just on Babar's criticism. After the Afghanistan loss, the PCB, they issued a press release and they said this, addressing the media scrutiny directed at Captain Babur Azam and the team management, the press release stated the board would make decisions in the best interest of Pakistan cricket based on the team's performances in the World Cup. Last night, Mickey Arthur was questioned about this and he said, they're going to be blaming everybody. Don't worry. It's just the way of the world. It's really unfair to start a witch hunt, certainly on Babur Azam, on Inzamam Haq as the chief selector, on our coaches, on the management team. What I do know is the boys have tried and the effort of the coaching staff, the effort of the players has been first class. If they would see that the amount of effort that the players and staff have put in, they'd be amazed. I can fully appreciate all that stuff. 2 wins out of 6. Just, results-based business, unfair. Mickey Arthur, of course, close personal friend and friend of the show. All right, third and final thing. The final 4, are they locked in, Pezza? South Africa, India, New Zealand and Australia. As we all know, Australia's going to beat New Zealand this afternoon. That means they'll be on 8 points. And then Sri Lanka will be 5th on 4 points with 4 games to play. Yes, with an extra game, yes. So Sri Lanka now are really the only other team. Well, okay, Afghanistan the same amount of points as Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka's last 4 games, Afghanistan, India, Bangladesh, New Zealand. Australia's last 4 games, New Zealand, England, Afghanistan, Bangladesh. So South Africa and India are in.
Yeah, I think that's right. And I think there's twists and turns.
Twists and turns?
Left, I do.
But after today when Australia beat New Zealand.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah. Look, if Australia wins today, which they will, I will be a lot more confident of what the Final 4 will look like.
Yes.
But that's just a case of increased probability in mathematics. That's not any analysis or prediction. But I mean, it's just one of these things that happens. You look at a table like, oh, okay, well, now I know what it's going to be because of the last game that happened. And then all of a sudden something different happens that you didn't predict,
England will beat India on Sunday night.
And they'll beat Australia as well. Like Australia, look, okay, cut this out. New Zealand could win today. It's a game of cricket. They can win the game.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Fuck's that, man?
And And England could beat Australia too. There's all sorts of shit that can happen, and that's what happens when you've played 5 games out of 9. More things can happen. You know?
Yeah.
You know? It's not locked in.
Just past halfway.
Yeah.
It's like,
you get
out.
these fucking maths nonsense giving you probability and stuff.
Yeah.
All good. But anything, like, I'd be very surprised if the final 4 in the semis are what almost anybody predicted. Nobody predicted what happened to England. It's like all you can predict is that what everyone predicts will not happen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
What the betting says is not what's going to happen.
Yep.
Getting upset now.
If you've enjoyed this episode of TGC, why not click subscribe to the channel? We just passed 250K. What's our next target? I don't know, 3 million. So we're heading towards that.
Yep.
Hashtag AskTGC. This is from Sean5803.
Oh, yes.
He says, but I've noticed a subscriber count shooting up like a vagabond in a dark alley since Ye turned into groveling cucks and actually started asking people to subscribe. I presume he means you instead of the artist formerly known as Kanye West. I unsubscribed. My question is, will getting more subscribers make your dad love you? Hashtag AskTGC.
A lot of layers to that from Sean as well. So
5803.
From Sean, not to be confused with the other
5802 for a
if
start.
he's the last one, 5,803. Sean's just making sure that that's clarified. A lot of layers to that as well, because what Sean says is, you've turned into groveling cucks by asking people to subscribe.
That's right.
By the way, support us by subscribing.
Yeah,
that's the best way you can support
subscribe.
TGC.
Yeah.
Continue to make more content if you like it. So thank you, Sean, for that trigger.
Yep.
So he says, you've turned into groveling cucks.
Yes.
And then he says, I unsubscribed. So as a result of our groveling, he's unsubscribed because of the nature. And despite unsubscribing as a result of that, he's still following how many subscribers we get.
That's right.
As a result.
And commenting to sort of boost the algorithm.
And then he also chooses proactively to comment to us as well.
Yes.
It's a very kind of bipolar kind of approach to TGC. I don't like your style of doing it to the point where I criticise it, but I'll still keep an eye on whether it's actually having any success.
That's right.
Or whatever.
That's right.
2 guys, one
Cup.
producer. We're a 3-person team who puts together narration about the cricket that goes toe-to-toe with media entities that are owned by billionaires. There's just 3 of us, and the only thing that we ask of our audience from time to time is if they could subscribe. It helps us go to people who might help pay for TGC and say, look, a lot of people watch this. That's it. It's a very simple business model. We're not in your pockets for anything else, and we just ask that you just click a button. If you like it. Click a button to
and
subscribe.
also Coley's number. If someone's got Coley's number, drop that in the comments.
If you've got Coley's number, that's fine.
Also, we all know when we first signed up to the internet, we first had our email accounts, you did sign a release that says if you ever unsubscribe for something or unfollow something, you have to tell the person. That's part of the rules of the internet.
I'm just saying, I hope that Sean 5803 also writes to other entities with his criticisms about their methods for getting them to for getting consumers to stay with the program. I feel like from TGC's perspective, it's very basic. It's just going can you please subscribe to the show? That's it.
I'm pretty sure Sean 5803 also wrote to Walt Disney the other day. So, nice to be held in the same esteem.
Yeah, that's right. Some of those people will absolutely give you like an avalanche of email marketing. They will expose you to advertisements you never asked for. It will be all over your screen. Like you'll be getting fucked in the face by these people. But good old 3-team TGC down in the corner of Australia saying like, hey, love it if you guys could subscribe to support us. No good. You fucking groveling cucks. I unsubscribed and I follow that you do that and I'm going to comment about it. It's a tough old place, the internet.
What a hell of a game that was last night. Someone pray for Alex Wolf. Does he need to? No, he's
really.
No,
it's umpires call. It's how it goes. Yeah. It's all the drama's part of it.
Sometimes you get one, sometimes you don't. What goes around comes around. In the words of Justin Timberlake, and we all know how that turned out. See you guys tomorrow.